So silver's down right this minute 28 cents. And down to approximately $19.29. So, as I mentioned to you, I was going to wait this week and possibly next week to see where does silver end up. Did they push it down a whole bunch, a little bit? What was the best they could do, right? So, I'm waiting to pull the trigger on that. So, I got something else interesting, and this one's for Dave. Dave, this one's for you. The decline in Shanghai silver picks up speed. Not Shanghai, Shanghai. Over the past 2 months, gold inventories at the COMEX have risen slowly, while silver warehouse stocks continue to decline. A total of 17.2 million ounces of silver were removed from the Shanghai and COMEX exchanges since the end of February, and that would be 10.2 million ounces from Shanghai and 7 million ounces from the COMEX. For some reason, a great deal more silver is being withdrawn from the Shanghai Futures Exchange. In just 1 year, inventories at the exchange declined from 1,123 metric tons to the current level of only 258 metric tons. So just over 1,100 down to 200 or 258. And from the SRS Rocco report, someone is taking delivery, physical delivery, of silver from the Shanghai Futures Exchange in a big way. The amount of silver withdrawn from the exchange increased substantially this week. Matter of fact, more silver was removed this week than in the past 3 weeks combined. Earlier this week, I posted a chart on the change in silver warehouse stocks at the Shanghai Futures Exchange. In less than 2 months, silver inventories at the exchange declined 244 metric tons. He shows that chart. It's the same chart I showed you the other day. As we can see, the silver inventories declined from 575 metric tons at the end of February to a new low at that time of 331 metric tons on April 18th. This was a 42% decline in 7 weeks. According to the most recent data put out by the Shanghai Futures Exchange, silver withdrawals picked up significantly this week. There were 15 metric tons removed on Monday, 9 metric tons on Tuesday, 22 metric tons on Wednesday, 18 metric tons on Wednesday, and 9 metric tons on Friday. This was last week. That is a lot of silver. Now, if that was paper silver being moved, buy a contract, sell a contract, 5,000 contracts sold instantly to push the price down, someone bought them up, and you know it's the bank, one bank selling it to the other bank, and then they price to go up a little bit, then they sell it back to the other bank, right? That's not what we're talking about here. This is the physical silver numbers. Daily, metric tons. There is an incredible amount of silver being moved around, and I'm not talking the paper kind. This is the real deal. This is the physical silver. You know, am I shocked? No. As we get nearer and nearer the end times as far as the USA fiat paper game, end game, US dollar hegemony, end game, this is not uncommon to see. Those in the know, gold and silver is the only thing that will protect us. Now's the time. I felt that years ago. Now is the time. And I'm glad I did, because if you jump the gun early, that just means you get to collect more and more and more and more silver as the time goes on, and you realize, hey, it's not happening as fast as I thought it would. Great. Let me go buy some more. And not only great, they kept the prices down for me. Hey, JP Moore. Peace, man. Love, baby. Appreciate you bringing silver down to $19 right now. Just got a little J-Step 4 request for you, though. Since you're my favorite bank and all, JP Morgan, can we see $15 silver? Could you do that for me? Just one last go. One last pounding. $15. I can go out and buy maybe a couple 100 ounces of silver or something at $15. I would appreciate that. I'll give you a shout out like I always do. Probably not the kind of shout out you like, but I do give you a shout out. So he says, since my last update, total silver inventories at the Shanghai Futures Exchange fell 73 metric tons from 331 metric tons on April 18th to 258 metric tons this Friday, April 25th. In less than 2 months, 317 metric tons, or 55% of total inventories, were removed from the exchange. Over the past 2 months, gold inventories at the COMEX have risen slowly, while silver warehouse stocks continue to decline. A total of 17.2 million ounces of silver were removed from the Shanghai and COMEX exchanges since the end of February. For some reason, a great deal more silver is being withdrawn from the Shanghai Futures Exchange. It will be interesting to see how things unfold in the next several weeks at the Shanghai Exchange. If the current high rate of silver withdrawals continues, there won't be much silver left at the exchange at the end of next month. So, we're talking April now to May, which is next month. Turn that off on my face. And that's interesting, because remember the old astrology thing I told you about the other day? This guy, this Indian guy, and he mentions in his video, well, not his video, it's more like his interview on Russia Today, or not Russia Today, the Kitco News channel thing, where astrologers are kind of like other professions, if you will, where you can have two different ones look at the same chart, star charts, whatever, astrological charts, and one can have one idea of what this means, and the other one could be similar, but not the same, not identical. And I've come to see that, but he has a little bit of a track record, which is why I mentioned the other day that the people were calling in the show or mailing, emailing, whatever they were doing to get in touch with them to say, hey, can you bring that one guy back on? The astrologer finance guy, can you bring him back on? Nobody does that if you fail. They only do that if this guy was right, and we want to know what he's got to say now, because why? Because we're all greedy by nature, and we all want to fatten our pockets by nature, right? So how do I win? I cheat. Get the astrologer in here and let him see what the stars have to say. Human nature. So, of course, naturally, people are calling in the show, sending letters, email, get the guy back on, we want to know what he has to say. And he went on to talk about the precious metals rising soon after this interview. He was dead on, spot on. And then during the interview mentions, forget now, I know you guys want to know about now, but July of that was last year, 2013, but July of 2014 is the time to look for. I don't know how or why or what the reason will be, but it is going to be a big thing. And it's going to move the price of precious metals up. Gold, I'm seeing gold going right around July, going big move. I don't know why. I don't know what it will be. But I double-checked these astrological charts, and they have absolutely confirmed this. I don't know why it'll happen, but I can tell you to watch July of 2014. And I will also advise you, this is what he said, I will also advise anybody to not short the precious metals market in July of 2014, because you stand losing, or you risk losing big time. Not worth the risk, he says. So again, I know we're in April now, right? Next month is May. This guy's talking about silver inventories, precious metals, right? It'll be interesting, as he says, to see what the inventories will look like at the end of May. So then we're back into June, or not back into, but we are into June now, which is one single month shy of July. And if this trend continues up until that time frame, then he's going to have another spectacular spot on prediction. Now this guy charged $500 to join his newsletter. I'm sure that's per year. $500. A lot of people will say, I'm not spending $500 for 1 year of newsletter. No way. But as he said in his own blog, guys, I charge this fee because of the information I give. If people did not make money with information such as this, there would be no need for the fee. So he says, what is $500 if you were able to make millions of dollars off of a little piece of advice I gave? Guys, please don't share my information with people who aren't subscribers. This is for subscribers only. That's what he was saying. This is his people on his blog. So again, he is even saying, look, I've got a track record. That's why I charge $500. And while that seems like a lot of money, if I can show you how to make millions, of course you have to have a good chunk of money in order to turn it into millions anyways, but still, if you had, you know, 5 or 10 grand to invest and you can make $3,000 or $4,000 on his advice, would you mind paying $500 per year? Absolutely not. Right? So that's just him reassuring everybody, hey, my information is powerful, it works. So please don't give away my newsletter freely to people who are subscribers. That's how I earn a living. You know, I do the newsletter for $500. So, you know, if you had a horrible track record, who would even get on their blog and say, hey, don't give it away for free? If it was me, I'd say, look, guys, my track record has been horrible lately. Don't sign up for the next, you know, I know renewal's coming soon. I don't have it in my heart to charge you again for the horrible advice I've given, because it's been completely wrong. And, right? Anyways, maybe he wouldn't say that, right? Maybe because he needs the money, right? So he's going to lie. That could be a possibility. So, what do we revert to? His track record. Last year, spot on. Said silver would rise, gold would rise during the certain time frame right after the interview. He was absolutely right. Prior to that, he must have been right. As I said, I couldn't find the video. But when callers are calling in or emailing in to the show to say, hey, get that guy back on, we want to know what he has to say. And that's how the host starts the show. Well, we had a lot of viewers call in and contact us to tell us to see if we can get you back on the air, so we appreciate you coming back on with us. That's what she said. Coming back on with so he's been there before. He made a prediction before, and it must have been right. Now the second one's right. And while he's giving the second one that turned out to be right, 2 months, 3 months later, he said, forget about all this anyways. Watch July of 2014. That time frame. And as I said before, I don't care if you said your dead uncle's grandson came to you in a dream, in a nightmare, as a ghost, and was constantly telling you things that were going to happen in the world, and you were therefore repeating it and being looked upon as some kind of prophet, when in reality you said, look, it's my, you know, whatever I said, my great uncle's grandson, whatever, his ghost. What? I'm just telling you, the ghost comes to me at night and gives me the information. And then you would say, okay, this is absurd, but I'm going to go look at your track record. Oh my God. You are spot on. Like always. Are you at that point going to say, you know what? I'm not going to listen to this guy anymore. Because Ghost gives him his information. Or are you going to say, I don't give a crap what the source of information is. If it has a track record, that's all I care about. And I want to know what else you have to say. That's where I stand. Right? That's just a little analogy, if you will. It's not true. But this guy, I don't care if he looks up at the stars at night, does a little circle in his bed, does some little weird rollover prayer as I don't care what he does. If he gives out the information and it's right, that's all I care about. And from the looks of the enormous interest in gold and silver lately, and in this case especially silver, my favorite metal, I don't think this guy's going to be too far off. We may see just this big event happen. COMEX is cleaned out. Shanghai Exchange is cleaned out. They can't get any more. And everyone's looking at the COMEX because the COMEX sets the price. So they can't get it from the Shanghai Exchange. Where else do they go? Well, there's another one called the COMEX. Let's go over there and start cleaning them out. So they go buy the paper contracts, not to play the paper game. immediately give them the full money to buy that contract out and say, I want the silver in exchange for this contract. I paid in full. Give me the silver. I have that right. Only to find out, got some major delays. We had a problem at the exchange. The COMEX got hacked by the Syrian hacking army. Maybe it was Iran. Maybe it was China. Could have been Russia. You know, just pick a bad guy. The exchange is down. Right? Then what happens to the precious metals prices? What sets the precious metals prices? Where I firmly believe, because I know a lot of people talk of, the COMEX was going to default. COMEX is going to default. Look, I'd love nothing more than to see that. I'll be honest with you. But what I think will happen, based off of history here, of how these people operate, who are in charge, you will not be able to acquire physical gold or silver, or in this case, let's say it was silver, from the COMEX when they're basically going to default, or they are in default because they don't have it. And all these paper contracts, these massive amounts of paper contracts that are out there standing, even though only tiny few of them are demanding delivery, it's not going to be there. So they'll just change the rule mid-game, like they always do. New rule, you can only play the paper game. You can't demand delivery anymore going forward. Anyone that has an open contract will make good with you because they know how much they've got. You guys are all demanding delivery. Here you go. Starting on July 1st, right, whatever date, you can no longer demand delivery. New futures exchange rule of the Commodities Exchange, the CME Group newsletter, right? Something would happen. That's how I feel they'll handle it. They're not going to let this thing default to show everyone in the world we don't have the silver. They're going to do that anyways, because when they say you can't demand delivery and you can only settle in paper contracts for paper money, that's showing their hand that they never had it. Well, I can't say they never had it because they've been able to put out these fires, so they have. But now they can't get it, or they don't have it, or whatever the reason is. So they can't allow anyone else to just come in there and turn in that paper contract, which has been the way it's been forever, to get that exchanged for the real thing, the gold or silver. That's how I feel they'll handle it. They're just going to change the rules mid-game and say no one else can demand delivery, yet the whole world still look at our mechanism to set the price of silver. Trust us, we're setting the price of silver through the paper exchange, and even though you can't get the physical silver, Shanghai can't get it because they've cleaned out. You came over here and cleaned us out over at the COMEX. But trust us, the silver's there somewhere. So allow us to continue setting the price right up there on that little ticker based on the futures contracts that we have out, that we won't let anyone settle for the actual physical goods. No. That's when you have the disconnect. That's when everyone in the world says, if you don't have the silver, why is the price only, whatever it's at, $30? Shouldn't it be skyrocketing right now because nobody can get it? Well, in theory, yeah, but we're setting the price through our paper exchange, so we're trying to keep the price there. Yeah, but we can't get it. Right? So if they can keep the price down, they can try and go acquire it from other places at that low price so that they can then get more in their stocks to put out those fires, so to speak. I think that will be the disconnect and the price setting mechanism formerly will be known as the COMEX exchange. And something new will come that will really set the price of gold and silver. And when it comes, because keep in mind, China and Russia, and namely China, okay, are the biggest consumers as far as acquiring gold, precious metals. So while they're buying, they don't need to see the price rising. They don't care that the price is not rising. They want it as low as possible. Who wouldn't if you're in a buying spree? When they've accumulated the number of gold and silver that is only they know about, when they hit their own magic number internally in China, it's going to be the day where they announce how much gold and silver they have, and that there's this new backed by gold and silver currency known as the yuan, or they'll call it something else, maybe not their currency, whatever. There's a huge trade agreement between all these nations. In America, you're not included. Sorry about that, pal. And based off of that, here's what the value of gold and silver really is. At that point in time, then they're going to come out probably with allegations that the exchanges have been controlled, manipulated, the prices have been set, it's fraud, it blows up, and they're okay, they were right, we got to revalue everything, and then all of a sudden when you revalue it, oh my God, is the price of gold and silver high. But not a second too soon, not until China is done with their huge, massive purchases of gold and silver. Think about that. Why would you as a nation want to see increasing prices of anything that you're purchasing in mass? You wouldn't. You want the best freaking deal you can get. What if after all this is said and done, we find out it really wasn't JP Morgan rigging the prices of precious metals, and that it was actually China using their own banks or whatever to go out and purchase all these huge amounts of paper contracts on the COMEX so that they can in fact control the price, and all they need is two people, right? Two banks. This price rises too much, sell a ton of those orders, futures contracts. This bank buys them up at a dollar less. Now they've got the price down where they needed it. Then this bank sits on them. Prices start to rise. They're up a dollar again. Up, time to sell. Now this one sells it to this bank. And then he buys it and sits on it, right? And all they're doing really is just kind of, it's not really costing them anything, because whatever price this guy bought at and then sold it a dollar less, he took the loss originally for a dollar less, right? Now this one has it. So then when the price rises a dollar more, this one makes the profit of a whole dollar per ounce, again, but times, $1 billion or whatever it equals, millions and millions of dollars, and then sells it to this guy who then buys it up on the low, and then it rises, let's say, a dollar again. This guy's over here on standby. So considering it's the same people, right? It's like a person. You have two hands. But for reality and everyone else, you're trying to make it look like there's only one hand, and it's only one person here, and there's another hand, but it belongs to that person over there, when in reality it's the same person, just transferring back and forth, back and forth. So they ultimately aren't losing any money, nor are they making money. All they're doing is moving the price of precious metals back and forth, while they physically buy the metals at those prices the whole time. And again, once they get them and say, okay, we've counted it all, American strong dollar, world currency, that's gone. World currency, that's done. We're the new guy in town. We're the new kids on the block. And we got a lot of gold and silver, so it needs to be revalued. And that's when the whole story is breaking news, whatever. The price mechanism, formerly known as the United States of America COMEX, that's gone. You do not want to be on the opposite side of precious metals when that happens. Which is why, while China's getting their discount right now, you should be too. Get your precious metals. I, as I said, have met all my goals I've set for myself, in which how much silver I wanted to acquire, and then noticed, man, I got plenty of time. Ain't nothing bad going on here right now. Let me buy some more. Let me buy a little bit more. Let me buy a little bit more. And now I'm thinking, I would really like to have another couple 100 ounces or so. I would really like to. But like China, I don't want to buy it when the price is going up. I think I want to wait a little bit, see if I can get it when the prices are coming down. Now that I see how long these people can extend these low prices for, which is absurd, but they do it, and they've done it. So there's not too big of a rush to jump on it right this second. But if you don't have any precious metals, you need to get some no matter what the price is. Now, if we get into the price factor of hundreds of dollars an ounce, and keep in mind, that's US dollar prices. If we get $400 an ounce silver, it might only be $100 an ounce in the new Chinese currency. It might only be $100 in Canadian dollars. But it's going to be $400 in American dollars is the point of like what the Webbot talks about. And since all of you listening to this right now are Americans, this concerns you. It also is good because if you owe debt like a house, credit card, whatever it is, it stays in that currency. So even if it gets devalued heavily, it doesn't matter. If you owed $500 today and our currency was to crash tomorrow, 4 times less the value it is today, it's worth a quarter now, right? A dollar's worth a quarter. You still have $500 in debt to the credit. It didn't change because the dollar got devalued. But if you had precious metals, and that happened, all of a sudden your dollar is worth way more than it was worth before, whereas the dollar itself is worth 25 cents because it got devalued, your precious metals went way up the other way. So now you say, oh, I just can take a little bit of precious metals and pay off the $500 debt. Oh, that's the point of this. The thing is, it's probably going to get crazy on how much debt you can actually pay off, buy a whole house, property, whatever, with some silver. There were stories when this happened, you know, Weimar Republic, Germany and stuff, man. People, there are cases where someone took one gold coin, bought a house, free and clear, during that crisis. And people say, oh, that was Weimar Republic, whatever. This is America, man. We've been the superpower forever. We have the world's reserve currency. And even so, whatever, we're America. Let me ask you a question, those who think that. Did you ever hear of this great Roman Empire? Literally, the Roman Empire, 2,000 years ago. Did anybody hear that? Because seems to me that back in those days, the America, so to speak, was the Roman Empire. There was nobody on the face of the earth that came even close to what the Roman Empire had accomplished as far as military might, as far as weaponry, technology, and not just broadly technology, but building, right? Building the Colosseum and all these, you know, wonders of the world, basically. The Romans had all that stuff. They had the knowledge, they had the technology, they had the best lifestyle. If you were a Roman, you were that deal. Other countries hated you for your freedom, so I'm sure they probably had the same damn thing we did. And that's probably what they told their sheeple population too. These other countries are just jealous. Live your life, enjoy the swimming pools that we've set up for you, the stores, the clerks, your beautiful Roman clothing that we make here, right? They had the best of everything. And yet it was destroyed. Sure, it didn't happen overnight, but do you see the United States collapsing overnight? No. But if you've been paying attention, even the last few years only, it's enough for you to see this slow motion collapse taking place. And that's what happens on all empires during their rising and falling. It's just a cycle. And unfortunately for us Americans, this is our cycle. So rather than me just sit here and say, well, I guess it's a cycle, I'll do nothing. The bus is coming straight at me, it's going to smash into me, and since that's a cycle, I'll just sit here and do nothing. No, I think I'll do something, actually, and that something is buying precious metals to protect myself for when this damn day comes. Because things can happen, even though it doesn't happen, again, not overnight. They can make decisions and change rules and change laws overnight that all of a sudden affect you. Oh, by the way, you woke up today, you can't take out more than $500 a day out of your bank account. Unless you're purchasing, unless it's on the approved list of government regulations here. Are you buying a house? Are you doing this? Right? If you're not doing those, you can't take any more money out than that. And you're going to say, but it's my money and I physically put it in the bank, therefore I want to... No, your government just wrote a law that says, no, you can't. How many governments have already done that? We've already had them in the EU, European Union. That's like our best friend pal. That we have the same lifestyles and everything. Everything's great. And they've already done it in many places over there. Maybe not many, but at least a few. They've bailed in depositor funds to bail out the banks. They've bailed in the funds. So, for people to say, well, this is America, that's not going to happen, you know, I thought it was America. You're going to say, I thought this was America. That's what you're going to say. I thought I was living in America. And I'm going to say, I am living in America. And even though this America that's coming sucks, and we're all living in it, I'm not stressed out at all. Matter of fact, I'm looking at my little silver portfolio, if you will, based off of the devaluation of the US dollar that I knew was coming. I'll just skate right by it. I'm not hurt at all. Matter of fact, I was able to get the best deals of my life during this crisis. So that may look like, hey, you know, you're almost cheering for this. No, I don't want people to live through this. But if you know it's coming, and you can see the writing on the wall, you have the foresight, so to speak, then you can make preparations now to deal with it when it comes. So that when it does come, you just continue on living the way you were, everything's good, no problems. Have a nice day. Oh, I thought I only have enough silver to buy one house with some nice property. I've got enough silver to buy a lot more than that. And since my sister or whoever is in trouble financially, I'm going to go ahead and just let them live here for now until times get better. They don't have to pay me any rent, just keep the place up. And then when things get better, if you like the place, you can buy it from me. Or if you want to move out, that's fine. I'll get the house back and I'll either rent it or sell it or whatever, right? You can make those kinds of decisions when everybody else is struggling. The point here is to not struggle as much if you can help it. And when I'm reading you stories like this about the silver, and yet the other side of you, the left brain, right brain, left brain sees silver at $19, right brain, someone wants some silver badly, left brain, the price is down 20 more cents this morning, right brain, 30 metric tons of silver just left the Shanghai exchange, right? So you're fighting yourself. The bottom line is, what do you physically see happening? You see that money or that silver being withdrawn. Don't look at the price. Who cares what the price is? Just know that that's happening. So, I feel bad for anybody who's been listening to me talk about silver for this long, showing you time and time and time and time again these fundamentals, these things. This is data that anyone can pick up and read. This isn't like stuff where we say, well, the price is manipulated and we have a hard time proving it, because it is hard to prove even though it's blatantly obvious. One thing we can prove is there's a huge appetite for silver and gold. Why is there this big appetite if it's not even a precious metal? It's just a relic nowadays. Because there's a new currency coming to replace the old currency. And that new currency can't do the same thing the old currency was, which was backed by nothing. Why would we all accept it if we're just going to do the same thing again? Right? We don't want that. It's got to be backed by gold and silver. But not until the timing's right. So right now, you have the opportunity to buy more. And you should. Take care.